Thinking about moving to Parrish, Florida? You are in luck. Today I have Richard Souksengphet right here next to me. Say hello, Richard.
Hey everybody, how are you guys doing today?
And he's going to be talking about everything that it's like to live and maybe move to Parrish, Florida. This is Want to Move There, the show giving all humans the information they need to decide whether or not they want to move to some area outside of where they live, or maybe they just want a vacation there or want a tour guide. We can help out in that regard. Richard, I always say that realtors are the best tour guides because we know where everything is. So whenever I'm going somewhere, rather than finding some kind of concierge service or even asking Google, a lot of times you can just find a top realtor in the area and reach out to them, and they can help you find what you need, even if you don't need to buy or sell a house. I am your host, DerekBicksler, realtor of 15 years, right here in Central PA. I grew up on the hill in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So I used to phrase everything in this show as if I was talking to just people in central Pennsylvania. That's why I say all humans now. I used to say giving central Pennsylvanians the information. They need to move somewhere else, but then I figured anybody from anywhere across the planet could be watching this for information about moving to the subject location. So it says all humans. I am the host, and now I have to say Pennsylvania. I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I grew up in Mechanicsburg High School in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, and I went up to Penn College of Technology up in, you guessed it, Williamsport, Pennsylvania, which is home of the Little League World Series, and the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon is up towards there. So if you like the outdoors, that's a nice area. If you need to buy or sell a home, please reach out to me. You can call me, text me, email me, throw a rock through my window, send a carrier pigeon, whatever you need to do. I want to hear from you. And if you need to move out of the area, obviously I can hook you up with Richard and some of my other contacts, a vast network of awesome realtors across the country and globe. Whether you are watching live or on a replay, ask a question in the comments, or if you know one of us, throw it in the comments, say hi. We'd love to say hi back. And if we don't see it while we're going along here, which is entirely possible because it's just this little red thing that dings up here and I usually miss it. So if we do miss it, we'll come back and address it later. And last reminder that replays are on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, all the audio places, all the video places. So wherever you like to get your content, it will be sitting there waiting for you. And then without further ado, I will bring in Richard Souksengphet. I didn't even have to look at my little phonetic note that time. Richard Souksengphet. Realtor in Parrish, Florida. While I pull up your bio to read to everybody, tell us, say hi, and then tell us what your favorite movie is, or the last movie that you watched is.
Yeah, gotcha. Hey everybody, welcome. How are you guys doing today? Happy day to you guys. So the last movie I just watched actually was with my family and kids. It was Spider-Man No Way Home. It was our first time out to the movie theater pre-COVID, as you would say. It was a wonderful movie, and we definitely enjoyed it, and I highly recommend it to everybody.
So the last recording I did was also saw Spider-Man, I think.
Oh,
So did you see it in 3D?
no, so we didn't see it in 3D, but we saw it in one of those fancy little movie theaters where the seats recline and you order the food. And so this was no just popcorn and pop. It was, the whole gourmet burgers and chicken tenders and the whole nine. So.
So where's that? Shout out the location. Do you have a favorite theater where you are?
Yep. So we were out at Cine Bistro down in Sarasota, Florida. It's one of our favorite movie theaters that we like going to. Besides going to the AMC theaters locally around here, also.
And so they have like a full menu and they come and serve you where you're sitting in those lounge chairs?
Yeah, definitely. So they've got a full menu, right? They've got burgers, they got lobsters, they got steak over there. It is amazing. They've got pasta. You literally can get a three-course meal down at Cine Bistro, and they've got a full bar there. So I mean, whether it's sangria or a nice, Long Island iced tea, the world is your oyster down at Cine Bistro. It's a little bit on the higher end compared to your typical AMC theaters, but you know what? Sometimes you have to treat yourself in life. So.
Yeah, I've always thought that's an awesome idea to have something like that. And we used to have something here, but it was like a second rate. It never really made it. And I remember they always got the movies late because they weren't like part of the AMC system or whatever. So they never got like the freshest movies. But it sounds like this place, they have Spider-Man. Spider-Man's everywhere right now, right?
Yeah, this is top notch. They're playing Spider-Man. They're playing all the newest movies. It's a great theater. They even have a place where you can have a dinner there. They've got a whole conference room there or a whole dinner area where you can actually book it for a private party, have dinner, and then go watch the movie afterwards. So very, very, very fancy to say the least for Sarasota, Florida. So
And the food's half decent?
yes, the food better be decent for the price. Definitely great food. And we love the gourmet popcorn that they have there too. It's unlimited, and so that's a nice added bonus at least, So
Huh? Yeah, unlimited popcorn. I love any place that has something that you can eat the second you walk in. Everybody should have some breadsticks or some popcorn or some tortilla chips or I'm trying to think of other sides. The wontons at Chinese places maybe, or is that what those are called?
yep, yeah,
Um,
fried wontons and stuff like that. They have those from time, and they got your typical mozzarella sticks and your candy boxes and all that great stuff. So
awesome. What'd you call it? It was Cinebistro. Is that what it was called?
yeah, Tuna Bistro in Sarasota, Florida. So if anyone ever comes and they're trying to catch a movie, definitely recommend that spot if you're looking for something a little bit different from the typical AMC theater. So
There you go. So if you are down there, hit that place up for sure. Or if you live there for sure, you probably already know about it if you live down there. Or do most people know about it, or are they is it
yeah,
a
so
hidden gem?
yeah, so a lot of people do know about Cinebistros. There's not very many theaters out here in the Sarasota Manatee area. There's probably about maybe I would say 5 or 6 at most. So a lot of people do know about Cinebistro, and so it definitely is an experience. For you and the family, or if you're going out on a date or something like that, it's a great place to take a date out. So.
Awesome. I don't have any dating. We talked about that before we came on the air. I'm not doing any of that right now, but when I do, I'll take a trip down there and we'll take a nice trip to Cinebistro. And now I have your bio up here, so I'm going to read a little bit about you so everybody knows who we're talking to. You actually did not grow up down there in Florida. You grew up in North Aurora, Illinois. That's what IL is, right? Illinois. I'm showing my ignorance.
Yep, that is Illinois. Born and raised from the Midwest. So, and a Florida transplant to Florida, just like a lot of people that live here currently now.
And it says you went to West Aurora High School. So you grew up in North Aurora, but you went to West Aurora. Is there a North Aurora High School, or the North Aurora Ians go to West Aurora High School? How does that work?
Yeah, so great question. So North Aurora, just kind of like Parrish, Florida, is a little big town, I would like to say. So we didn't have a high school. And so the closest high school to us was actually West Aurora, which was about, 7 miles away. And so everyone who lived in North Aurora went to West Aurora. So, I think to this day, I haven't been to North Aurora in a while, but we still don't have a high school out there. So, yeah.
And did you play any sports? Were you in the band? Were you a mathlete or a chess club or art club or any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, definitely. So as far as sports goes, I played varsity volleyball actually for 4 years, indoor men's volleyball since my freshman year. And, I had a real great knack for that and I loved it. And I would like to say I'd like to play volleyball more to this day, but, with kids and a family, it's a little bit different. But I also did track and field. I did the 100-meter run, 100, 200, 400, the high jump, and the hurdles. So definitely enjoyed that back in high school. And besides the school and academics, the sports was a great way. I tried football, but yeah, that just didn't work out. So it didn't happen.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'10", but compared to a lot of these athletes, back then and nowadays, I mean, these guys are monsters in high school and middle school. Yeah, I mean, so.
Totally, totally. Do you have you ever played any beach volleyball? That's pretty different than indoor volleyball.
Yeah, definitely. So when I first moved down to Florida, I played some beach volleyball here during my single days, I like to call it. But it was a lot of fun. It is something that I am looking to get back into. My brother actually plays a lot of beach volleyball, including competitive beach volleyball right now. And that is definitely one of the things that I want to get back into. I love volleyball as a sport. It's very challenging and very rewarding. And being down here in Florida, there's no other better place to play volleyball, especially beach volleyball, than here.
So what does competitively mean? How old is he, and what kind of league? Is just like a older person's league, like they have baseball leagues for older people?
Yeah,
Or is it like, what is it?
yeah. So competitive volleyball, right? It's all age brackets at that point, and he plays competitively. Both twos. He plays fours. They have different leagues as far as like opens players, A players, double A players, and so you're ranked into different category by the skill set that you're in. And so, he's played with such professional athletes as in the Olympics and stuff like that. I can't recall their names right off the bat, but they used to play down at Bee Ridge Park down here in Sarasota. And so beach volleyball is a very huge thing here. He's played out in Siesta Key, out in Clearwater, different areas around Florida. So
There's some nice courts. Is that what it's called? A volleyball court at Siesta Key, which probably makes it one of the best beaches around, right?
Oh, definitely. I mean, those white sandy beaches out there, it's real soft. You get some good, jumping capabilities off of that sand when the sand is dry and everything. And it is one of the biggest volleyball tournaments out in Siesta Key every single year. They used to hold only once a year. Now they're holding about 2, 3, 4 a year, it seems like. And, one of the biggest volleyball tournaments actually is the Pinecraft Tournament here in Sarasota. And that's actually a grass volleyball tournament. And this past year, I think they had over 100 teams compete from all around the United States. And I believe some internationally that came down here too. So that's a big draw for our area.
Huh. Grass. So if you're doing it in grass, do you have sneakers on, or is that barefoot like sand?
Yep. That's very funny you say that. So a lot of people play with their sneakers, but there are people that play barefoot also. Yeah. So I mean, it just depends on what you're comfortable with. We've seen both people wear, both sneakers and barefoot, and so it is a different type of volleyball to watch. And from the sand or the indoor volleyball, it's great to watch overall.
Huh. I feel like I'd want cleats. I mean, that's what all the other sports that are on grass have. If you're trying to move and cut real fast, you want some cleats.
Yeah.
You should, if people don't do it, they should start take over.
That would be a good idea. I don't know if they get stuck though, because if you're trying to jump, you want as much elevation as you can get. So
true. Yeah. Well, you got to get whatever receivers wear. They probably wear ones that don't stick, but give some kind of like grip or like, that's a good question. Well, and then last question before this turns into a whole volleyball episode. Is it 2-on-2 for the beach competitive, or is that 4-on-4, or do they have different leagues with different numbers of people per team?
Yep, generally 2-on-2 or 4-on-4 is what they generally play for beach volleyball. So,
and is a 4-on-4 is in a diamond? Do you usually play in a diamond shape?
Yeah, so it's usually a diamond or it's like a square shape basically. So it just really depends. So.
Gotcha. So in high school, got off on a tangent there because I kind of like volleyball. I'm not too bad at it, being a person that's never played it competitively or on a team or anything. But I played we ran the sand court at Masai College, which is a college close to here, which was close to our high school, and we all went there. We beat the college kids. We had our little setup. It was pretty awesome. But and I was one of the only ones. I prided myself on my overhand serve that almost nobody that doesn't do it competitively could do. Yeah. So that's fun. So you did that in high school. Anything else in high school? Band?
No, didn't do any band. I tried my luck at performance arts for a little bit. Found out I wasn't a very good actor, and so I went back into volleyball. So yeah.
And then your favorite color is blue. I should have guessed. I should just take the favorite color thing out because if you watch any episode, 95% of the answers are blue or some variation thereof. Okay, I'm going to change it to favorite color, and if it's blue, pick your second one. So what's your second favorite color? Yeah,
so my second favorite color, actually, that's a great question, is teal, actually. So
that's blue.
Yeah, well, I mean, so I would say green then. So if I pick a secondary color, it'd be green. But you put them together, you get teal. So.
All right, acceptable. We'll take green, and anything in between blue and green you can deal with as well.
There you go.
Favorite food, sushi. Any favorite roll, or you like sashimi, or what do you like?
Yeah, so my favorite roll is the volcano roll, right? So it's a combination of all this type of seafood and rolls and stuff like that, and so. But at the end of the day, you put sushi in front of me, and I'll, for the most part, eat any of it. So whether it's cooked or uncooked, you can never go wrong with it. So.
Yeah, give me some soy sauce and some yum yum sauce
Yep.
separately, and I go
Yeah.
back and forth. Great palate cleansers from the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love me some sushi as well. I don't eat much meat anymore, but they have great vegetarian options. And if I do want to eat meat, I like some sashimi or something like that to get some nice, pure, clean meat in me. So I'm with you on that. You do not have any pets, and that's probably rare, I guess. I haven't looked at all the results, but I would say most people have some kind of pet. I do not, and I like not having a pet. Or
Yeah.
we both have kids, little kids, so that's enough to deal with until they start bugging us enough to get a pet, which mine's starting to. I want a pet. I want a pet. So you have two girls, 6-year-old and a 9-year-old. Mine's 8-year-old, and then I have some 3.5-year-olds. So we're kind of dealing with the same thing. Are they asking for pets at all yet?
Yeah, so they ask for a pet all the time, right? They ask for a pet puppy, and at one time or another, we had pet fishes for a little bit. But our family likes to travel, right? We like to have experiences in life, and so the girls understand that in order for us to have a pet cat or a pet dog or anything like that, that they will have the responsibilities of taking them out, cleaning up the poop, feeding them, and all that. And so as soon as we let them know about that, they're like, no, we enjoy traveling, we enjoy the hotels and everything. So it kind of brushes them off right away with that. But they do like the occasional, hey, can we get a puppy or something like that? So
Yeah, just tell them if when we take a road trip to Disney World, you're gonna have to stay home with
yep,
Rover.
you got it.
The rest of us will go, and you can hang out here, and we'll be good.
Yeah,
And you are married to Irish. That's a
yep,
cool name. Is she
yeah.
Irish?
No, actually enough that she is not Irish. Actually, my wife is from the Philippines and everything, and her mom gave her the name Irish, and it's a wonderful name, and it's been great so far. So.
Awesome. It definitely is not one that you would forget. So I'm sure when you met her, you kind of remembered it.
Oh yeah, I definitely remember the name Irish, and a quick story of how I met Irish and everything is, we met through a family party or whatever, through a friend's party, and when she told me she was from the Philippines, I never knew where the Philippines was, coming from a small town back in Illinois, and so when she said she was from the Philippines, I thought she was from Philadelphia. So, but, as fate would have it, like life decides, which direction and who you fall in love with, and we've been happy ever since. So
You're like, yeah, I love the 76ers. Go Eagles. Yeah. Yeah, that's hilarious. All right, your hobbies, retro gaming. I'm going to ask you about that. Working out and blackjack, poker. Still playing poker, huh? There was a time when all me and my friends used to play during the Texas Hold'em craze, and I feel like it died down a little bit. Have you always played? Did you start playing during then? Tell me a little bit about the poker and gambling.
yeah, so once again, before I got married, I was really, really into Texas Hold'em and poker. We had a local dog track right here. We had a Hard Rock right here, and so I would read the books. I would enter into tournaments. I played online. I played in tournaments, cash game, and everything. And I really, really thought that I was going to be a professional Texas Hold'em player, especially watching it on TV. Right, for those that plays Texas Hold'em, you watch the World Series of Poker and you see just all those rows of stacks of cash, and you're like, man, that's going to be me one day. And so that's what I figured also. But, just like you said, Derek, the Texas Hold'em craze itself, it had a high road and it started declining down, and now it's kind of leveled out. And so that's about where it is right now. We do like to go to Vegas. And so whenever I get a chance to go to Vegas, I'll definitely play Texas Hold'em. I haven't gotten a chance to as much now that, married with kids and everything. But when the chance I do get out, I'll try to find a table or two here. So it's definitely a lot of fun and a lot of skills, and it teaches you a lot of life skills too of learning about people and their actions and reactions at that point. So
Totally. And then when you're not doing that kind of gaming, what about the retro gaming? What is you talking about, like Atari 2600 or what?
yeah, maybe not that far. So I'm an '80s baby, so I grew up with Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and the original PlayStation and stuff like that. And so I tried to get my hands into these new Xboxes and PS5s, and I was like, man, that's too many buttons. And so, I like to go back, and some of my favorite games are like Street Fighter 2, Super Mario Brothers, World is a classic and stuff like that, Killer Instinct, Contra, and The Simpsons, all those stuff that we all used to grow up in. And you would go to the arcades, and you may not know, or you may know, Derek, spending hours and hours and quarters at the mall, just lining up and getting ready to play those retro games and stuff. And what may be retro to us now was, the biggest thing back then for us, right? So yeah.
Totally. I'm with you on everything you just said. The Atari 2600 was like just barely. I was at the tail end of that, so I'm right there. I had the Nintendo, the Genesis. I had a TurboGrafx. I had the TurboGrafx portable version, which was also a TV, which was the bomb. That system sucked, but the TV thing was cool. And we went to the arcade at our mall pretty much every day in the summer, and anytime we went, and I ran with Chun-Li on Street Fighter 2. If you played Street Fighter 2, Chun-Li, I would whoop. I never left that thing. I would just have to leave.
All right, we'll have to have a nice friendly game next time we see each other here. My characters was Ryu and Ken, and those were my guys. And when they came out with the new characters, Sagat was my guy as they got older, and then they started adding characters. But that is awesome to hear that Chun-Li was one of your main characters. I loved it, so it's awesome.
Yeah, and then I don't know if you remember Tekken and or Soul Calibur on whatever that was on.
Yeah.
Those fighting games, and they're all kind of the same controls. Me with Yoshimitsu, I'll annihilate anybody with Yoshimitsu.
Well, the funny part, real quick, and for those that have played out there, Tekken, real quick, was it was great. He was a great character, but sometimes when you knew you were about to lose, I don't know if you remember, Derek, but there was like a suicide, like basically, like a kamikaze mode, where you basically take the sword and you stick yourself, and you just kind of end the game right there. And so I don't know if you remember that or not, Derek. So.
Oh, for sure. But you could also kill them, because he would turn around, and if you did it right, you'd partially kill yourself, but you could take them with you. So, for sure.
Right? It was a double KO, and I remember at the arcades in the mall, if and when that happened, everyone just screamed all around. They're like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah, I'm with you. So last question about this, and we'll move on to where you live and all that kind of stuff. Do you have any old systems, like an actual old Genesis, or do you have those like compilation things that they have for each system now?
Yeah, so great question. So I do still have the original Nintendo, and I actually have two of them. I don't know how or why I have two of them, but I have that. But as far as my Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and all that, that's all been sold, as we grew up. But what I have been able to keep the retro gaming alive, I guess, is I have a arcade outside of my office, actually, and that's loaded up with all the games, Nintendo, Sega Genesis, and stuff like that. And I also have the retro games on my computer and stuff like that. So it's been a great experience, and it's a nice way to take a break from real estate, just to get back and relive, your childhood memories and everything. So.
Yeah, totally. Number one game. Last question. This really will be the last before we talk about Parrish.
Yep,
Number one game of all time, if you had to pick one.
Yep. So number one game of all time is actually not a fighting game or anything. It would actually have to be a role playing game, and that's Final Fantasy VII for me, right? So. And so the reason for that is it's immersive. It's got a great storyline. It's got a lot of action. And that would probably be my number one go-to game out of everything. And Street Fighter 2 would be the second one. So.
Wow, that's interesting. It's ahead of the curve, because a lot of the games nowadays kind of have a movie element along. It's half movie, half interactive story, and it's kind of slow moving. So, which is why I never got it. Obviously, you can tell I don't like slow stuff. It needs to be fast. All the fighting games, let's do this. As soon as it's over, ding ding, let's go again. I don't want to sit here. I'm always the one skip movie. So I wasn't playing Final Fantasy, but I could see how you could, and it was ahead of its time, I think. So I will pull up the map now. Go ahead.
I said it was good because, I mean, it teaches you from, being this lonely little, weakling character to this all being character by the end. And, for me, it's kind of like a reflection in life, and whether it's growing up or starting a new career or whatever, we all start somewhere, but as the time and the years pass, you just get better and better. You know what I mean? So
There you go. I never knew even what it was about. I just knew that it was slow, and I was like, I think it says like on the back of the games, it says how many hours it takes to complete it or something. And if it was beyond some certain number, I was like, ah.
Yeah, it was like 80 plus hours or something. Yeah, so it was ridiculous.
You have more patience than I, which is good.
Yeah.
All right, so let's learn about Parrish, Florida down there. I got my Google map up here like everybody can see, and I will zoom out to the globe so everybody watching anywhere you are can see where we're at. So down here in Florida is where it is. It's on the Gulf side, the western side of Florida, kind of below Tampa. So I'm guessing we'll talk about airports, but I'm guessing maybe Sarasota has an airport too, I guess. So it's right here, a little bit above Sarasota, between Tampa and Sarasota. And I will read the little blurb here. Right now it's 1:33 p.m., so the same time here as in Pennsylvania, obviously, Eastern time zone, and 53 degrees, which is, I think it's about 30 today here, so you're definitely warmer. Is this typical of right now?
Yeah, so it is typical for Florida weather. I mean, temperatures get as low as, say, probably the highs of the 30s, but between 30 to 50 degrees is about normal here in Florida, which, to us it's cold, but to others it's warm. And, it's just what it is for the winter. But we'd rather have this than snow and ice, and, we'll take it. So.
There you go. I always said if I could have snow and ice without the cold part, it'd be awesome, because I do like playing in it. And I was on a frozen lake the other day. That was super fun. It made me want to go buy ice skates. I want to get ice skates now. I forgot we even had a frozen lake around here. But yes, it was frigid. All right, so the quick facts on Parrish are: Parrish is an unincorporated community in northwestern Manatee County, Florida, in the United States. The community is located near the intersection of US 301 and State Road 62. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about those main routes when we talk about the commute stuff, and is part of the Northport, Sarasota, Bradenton Metropolitan Statistical Area. And there's a picture of a train here, so I'm assuming there's some kind of train history or a rail that goes through there or something as well. So everybody knows a little bit about it. Before we talk about the trains, let's talk about what the landscape is like. So you're down there in Florida. Are we talking like palm trees and flatness everywhere? Is it what everybody would picture?
Yep. So it's your typical Florida, right? Whether you're here in Parrish, Florida, Sarasota, Miami, Jacksonville, Tampa. We've got palm trees, we've got beaches. It's a flat land for the most part. There are some hilly areas a little bit further up north, but Florida in general is, palm trees, and our grass isn't the best compared to up north, and that is one of the things that I miss. But definitely a lot of palm trees down here. So.
Why? What's the grass like? I feel like in places like that, it's that really.
Yeah.
It's not as lush, or it's not as densely packed, and it's this really thick, like might cut you if you jabbed it wrong or something.
No, definitely. So me originally being from the Midwest, the grass down here, like you said, is really thick. The dirt maybe isn't as soft. I mean, there's ant mounds everywhere, so you just gotta be careful with that. I remember being from Illinois, you used to be able to literally row in the grass, and it was just, perfectly fine. Down here in Florida, man, if I saw anybody rolling in the grass or falling down on it, I'm like, what are you doing? Get back up before you get bitten and everything. So it's
wait, the volleyball in the grass, is that they would use some nice plush grass for that?
Yeah, so the grass for the volleyball courts is a little bit different, right? So a lot of times with that, they'll treat it for the ant mounds, and they'll make it a little bit softer and stuff like that for playing volleyball. Because I couldn't imagine fire ants biting everybody on the volleyball court. That probably wouldn't make for a very good environment. So.
Make for a good watching environment, maybe, but not a good playing environment.
Yeah, it put another element to the tournament, right?
So you obviously have all the like tropical plants and stuff, but do you have like oak trees and pine trees like we have up here? That kind of like tall, big stuff down there?
Yeah, so we do have oak trees, right? So one of the things down here is, with the developments of the area and stuff like that, they try to replenish it by putting oak trees down here. We don't have too many pine trees that I've seen personally and stuff like that. It may be possible, but for the most part, palm trees and oak trees is what we see down here, and then some other trees. I don't know the names, but we have some others.
And do you ever go mining, no, harvesting coconuts or whatever? How picking coconuts?
Yeah, so right now it is actually starberry picking season actually. So throughout the year, you can go for oranges, you can go for starberry. It's starberry season once again. They've got the Starberry Festival coming up pretty soon. We've got such fruits as Logan and lychee and stuff like that. And so, those one of the nice things about being in Florida is we have a lot of variety of plants and fruits that you can pick and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, because it's nice down there all the time, so you can grow things all year round and kind of you could probably I guess you pick the season. So if you want strawberry season to be in January, it could be in January, or you could have two strawberry seasons or whatever you want to do.
Yes, and mangoes. I forgot about mangoes. Mangoes are really huge down here in Florida. So yeah.
Do you have any plants or stuff in your backyard? Do you guys grow anything?
Yeah, so currently right now we don't. We live in an HOA community, and I know, some HOA communities you could probably get away with it, right? Depending on where you plant it or how you plant it and stuff. But currently right now we've just got a nice water view and it's clear and we just enjoy that right now. So yeah. But I would love to grow mangoes because mangoes are one of my favorite fruits. And so maybe on the next house we'll grow some fruit, so.
Yeah, something like a tree, a mango. That'd be a tree, right?
Yeah, it's a tree, and the thing about mango trees, man, they once they start growing, man, you've got to keep track of it, or else they'll just bloom very high and stuff like that. But having something like an orange tree, or lychee or logan, that'd be a little bit more manageable per se. But that's one of the nice things about Florida, right? The fact that you can grow fruits here year round and not worry about any of the cold weather affecting it really. So.
So how cold does it get? You said it was a little bit colder early today, 40-ish. Is that about as cold as it'll get?
Yeah, so 40-ish. I think the lowest I've seen it was the 30s. Fun fact, years ago, I think back in the 90s, I wasn't here. It was either 80s or 90s. It snowed down here in Sarasota. I wasn't here for it, but it wasn't like a heavy snow or something like that, but they did have snow down here. So one time or another. I don't remember. It had to be 80s or 90s. You looking it up right now?
I am.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
said Parrish, Florida. I probably should have said Sarasota or something, so I'm not going to get it very easily. But do you ever so you don't get snow very often. Do you get like sleet or freezing rain or any of that kind of stuff? We tend to
Yeah,
get more of that now because it's getting warmer generally. So what used to be, might have been snow a few years ago, now is this other mucky, wet mess.
correct. Yeah. So in the summer months, we have a lot of rain, and the rain down here in Florida is not like your typical rain, right? It's a little bit more slipperier and stuff like that. So what's interesting about Florida in the summer months is it will literally be sunny all day, and right around 4or 5 o'clock, it will literally pour for about 30 minutes to an hour, and then an hour after that, it clears up again, and so. It's but during that time, it can get slippery, and these roads down here can get pretty dangerous. So yeah.
Huh. So that's a seasonal thing with the, because I associate Florida with it's sunny all day, but there's going to be like 10 minutes of downpour at some point, and then it'll be sunny outside of that. So that not all the time? That's seasonal in the summer
Yeah,
or something with some Gulf Stream?
Yep, that's about seasonal. I don't know the whole complex behind it, but yeah, during the summertime, it's very interesting because you can literally it's crazy to think this way, but you can literally be on one side of the sidewalk and it is clear, sunnier than day, and you literally go across the other sidewalk, across the street, and it is pouring. I don't know how to explain it, but that is Florida weather for you in the summertime. So.
I think that's fun. I like that when you can actually like see the wall of rain almost and walk out into the sunshine. It's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
we the kids like to race the rain sometimes or the sun because literally it'll be sunny and as the rain is coming, you'll try to outrun the rain. So it's very fun actually. So
Might as well make a game out of it.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then And then how hot does it get? What would be the top?
Oh
Above
man.
100?
Yeah, yeah, definitely above 100 during the summertime and stuff like that. But thank goodness for the AC and everything. A lot of people are like, man, I can't handle the Florida heat and stuff like that. But that's why we have air conditioning and inside. And those that do, venture out to the beaches during the summer months, man, bless your heart because, going to the beach during the summertime, man, it gets pretty scorching out there. But so good way to
So
get
is
it.
it better to visit? The tourist season is not summer.
Yes,
It's
yes.
when it's cold here is when you want to go to Florida.
Yeah, well, you know what? It's crazy that you say that because we have snowbirds, right? And I don't know if you heard about that, but everybody from up north or out east or west in the cold weather, they'll come down here during the months of let's say the end of October until about March, April. So it's actually busier now than you would say during the summer sometimes. And with Florida being one of the number one destinations for traveling for most everybody else around the United States, I would say it is busy year round. And you would think during the winter time it'd be a little bit slower to go to the beaches, but sometimes it gets really busy with all the snowbirds and everything. So yeah.
So if you can endure the scorching heat, maybe you could get a little bit of a deal in the summer, a little less crowded, maybe in the off season or whatever that is.
Yeah,
That's kind of cool.
a lot of times during the summertime, it may be better to go to the beach during that time because a lot of families are out of school, right? And the kids are out of school. So a lot of them are going to the theme parks and things of that nature. So yeah, if I could
True.
advise anybody to go to the beach, it's probably on the weekdays if possible. But that may not be possible for everybody. So yeah.
Nice thing is that Sarasota sand, which I didn't believe. Somebody's like, it doesn't get hot. It's a special sand that doesn't get. It's quartz. It's quartz sand, which is cool in itself. But
Yeah.
somebody said it doesn't get hot, which also makes the volleyball way more awesome. Because here in Jersey sand, we're digging. You got to dig your little wet pit to stand in while you're waiting for things to happen. Because the rest of the court is completely. You're getting blisters on your knees and whatnot. So it is pretty interesting that the sand stays cool. Anything to
Water out there, by the way.
What's that?
How's the water out there by where you live?
That too. I will say I went for a dip when I came down for our real estate get together in Sarasota. I went for a dip every night I was there. I went for a dip at sunset. And in Jersey, even on a 100-degree day, I probably wouldn't do that. And it was comfortable, not cold at all. You can see the bottom. Yeah, it was pretty pleasurable.
Like,
And then what about hurricanes and like tornadoes or any kind of windstorms or natural disasters, any kind of that stuff?
yeah, definitely. So, in our area of Parrish, we do, experience hurricanes not as much as say out by Fort Lauderdale, Miami, or by the Jacksonville area, or the Tallahassee or the Panhandle area. So it's kind of we've experienced as hurricanes in the past, but not to that scale. Because we're on the Gulf Coast, basically a hurricane has to come in and curve into the east in order to hit us. So we've been very lucky. And, there's supposedly a myth where, years and years ago, an Indian shaman or something like that put a like a little hex to keep the hurricanes away from our side of the coast and everything. And so it hits everybody else, but not really us. And, we've been very fortunate with the hurricanes. Tornadoes are touch and go. I believe either earlier this week or last week, I think some tornadoes touched down in the Fort Myers area or something like that. It is always possible in the Parrish area, but once again, we've been very fortunate and lucky. So, yeah. But
Nice.
no
Knock
earthquakes.
on wood. I'll knock on some wood for you here.
Yeah, no earthquakes and no forest fires like other places in the United States. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah, we enjoy that here in PA too. We don't really have anything major ever happen here other than some flooding a little bit if you live close to a creek or something.
Yeah.
But someday we'll all be happy to have this abundant water that we have in Pennsylvania when everybody out west is fighting over the water.
Oh, yeah.
So what's the commute there? What's the infrastructure, the highway system, getting around? What's that like around there?
Yeah, definitely. So one of the best things about Parrish, Florida, right, is that we are pretty much in the middle of everything nearby, right? So, Sarasota is probably about a 15, 20-minute drive from us. If you'd like to go to St. Petersburg over the Sunshine Skyway Bridge, that's about 20 minutes away from us. You want to go to the Tampa Bay area, that's about 35, 40 minutes away from us. And that has been one of the biggest draws of Parrish, Florida, is our central location to going anywhere that you want. Orlando's probably about, I would say, an hour and a half away from us, give or take. But that is one of the biggest draws to Parrish, Florida right now, is our location. So yeah, definitely.
And then what are the major industries? So you're kind of right between, you're close to a lot of, I would guess, the employment centers then too. Those more metropolitan areas are going to have most of the employment. So are most of the people living in Parrish and then they commute to one of those places?
Yeah, you got it. So some of the biggest employments and some of the biggest businesses down here is, we have Amazon, the Amazon warehouse, right, which is pretty much popping up everywhere throughout the United States. And so the Amazon warehouse is probably about 20 minutes away from us. And, all the orange juice that everybody drinks around the United States and the world, Tropicana, right? Tropicana is nearby in Bradenton. And, it's awesome to see the trains with the loads and loads of oranges loaded up in there, and then it gets distributed worldwide and everything. So those are two of some of the biggest businesses. And then, you've got your local police, your nurses, and other businesses that travels. If you're working downtown Sarasota, St. Pete, or Tampa, a lot of people want to live in Parrish to get away from all that traffic. And then, when they go into work, it's just a short drive for them. So, yeah.
And then tourism, obviously, that's a big thing. Is it a majority, or is it not as much of the economy as we would think?
Yeah, so tourism itself is huge. In the Parrish area in general, it's not as much because we're more of a central hub to everything else. But once again, you've got Siesta Key, downtown Sarasota. You travel 20 minutes up north. Then you've got downtown St. Pete with First Fridays, and you've got the St. Pete redone pier, which is very beautiful. And then, you drive 35, 40 minutes away to Tampa, and, you've got, oh my God, Tampa Bay. You've got, all the stadiums out there. You've got, Tampa Bay Armature Works, which is a great place to bring the family for food and, restaurants and everything. So Parrish as general isn't too much hub as a tourist spot, but we are a gateway to all the touristy hubs out there, including Disney also, which is about an hour and a half away. So.
Awesome. And we can relate to that here in Central PA. We like to be close to everything. We can get to DC and Philly and New York City and to Jersey Shore and all these places within a few hours, but we don't have to deal with living there and deal with all the stuff that comes along with actually living there. So we can relate to that. And you started touching on entertainment and things to do, but I forgot one of the things I like to ask everybody about commuting and local travel is, do you have Easy Pass and toll roads there or no?
Yes, we do. We have a thing called Sun Pass, right? And it's for the whole state of Florida, and it's really nice. So we do have tolls out here, out by the St. Pete area and the Orlando area. We've been blessed to not really have tolls out here in Sarasota and Tampa Bay, which has been really nice and convenient because, the day that they start putting tolls around our area, man, that's when you know that the city has grown to the size of a Tampa or Fort Lauderdale, Miami type of scale. So, but most of the tolls are out that way right now. So, yeah.
And hopefully you bought your real estate before all that happens.
Yes, I definitely did. So it's a beautiful thing with the influx with everybody moving in. It's a love hate kind of thing, and it's challenging. We love seeing the growth, but once again, the challenge is how do we all grow together with the traffic and everybody moving here. So, yeah.
And then with the Sun Pass, can you use that interchangeably with, we have Easy Pass up here? Like if you went for a road trip up to here, could you use your Sun Pass the whole way up through Jersey up to Vermont or wherever it goes to?
Yeah, so the Sun Pass, to my knowledge, I believe we have partnerships out by Georgia and maybe parts of Tennessee. Don't quote me on Tennessee, but I think we have partnerships out in Georgia and a little bit further up north on the states up that way. So,
gotcha. And then so you started talking about things to do. One of the things I like to ask is where you would go to see a concert. And I'm not going to say the person that comes out of my mouth every time. And today's going to be a new one. How about you come up with it? What's a big artist that could pack a stadium? And then tell me where you would go to see said person.
Yeah. So a big artist that could pack the stadium. And I'll use the example that we just went out in Los Angeles is a Korean band called BTS, right? And you may or may not have heard of them, but they're this new age boy band that, you know, everybody around the world is just falling in love with them. And you know, I would say that the place to go see them would be the Tampa Bay Stadium, right? But maybe even that stadium doesn't pack them because you know, Tampa Bay probably holds about 35,000 maybe in attendance, and the concert that they had held about like 80 to 100,000, right? But if you could choose any stadium or concert, it would be the BTS concert out in Tampa Bay, is that I would say. So
Awesome. And then would Orlando have bigger venues if you needed some?
Orlando, definitely. Yes, Orlando, definitely. I mean, that is conference central. That is, you know, just like the Las Vegas convention centers and Chicago convention centers, Las Vegas or Orlando, Florida, you can have any of those conventions. They can probably hold a lot more. So definitely.
So that's a good segue, actually. Is that the go-to vacation spot? Driving. Let's talk about the go-to driving vacation spot here. You know, it's Jersey. We're going to the Jersey Shore. And New Jersey, I just heard the other day, somebody said it's the vacation capital of the world.
Oh, really? Wow.
Of the world. So I didn't look it up, but I guess because Philly's in the top 5 largest cities. New York's the biggest city. DC's fairly big. Lots of population centers around there. So even if everybody doesn't go there every year as their religious spot, I'm guessing everybody has gone there at some point in their life.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I would definitely say Orlando, right? Let's it's a tried and true you know, travel destination for everybody coming down to Florida. You've got Mickey and Minnie, you've got Legoland, you've got all the water parks out here, you've got SeaWorld, you've got Legoland, restaurants and hotels galore. You've got, you know, so restaurants all the way to the Ritz-Carlton and everything. Orlando is the travel destination for Florida. You know, it's where a lot of local Floridians go during the summer months also to travel and visit. You know what I mean? You know, we always have Tampa Bay. We always have, you know, Fort Lauderdale, you know, Daytona and that nature. But if you want something to do with concerts, food, entertainment, Orlando is the place to be. So yeah, definitely.
So if you were taking the family to Disney World, would that usually be a day trip? Forget all the rest of it. Let's just drive and drive back. Or are you making like a weekend out of it, staying for 3 days or something?
Hey, I'll tell you what, Disney knows what they're doing, and they're not trying to keep you there for a day because there's no way you can get to the Magic Kingdom for a day. So, you know, if we're going out to Disney, it's usually a weekend trip or a week trip. And, you know, we're out there to enjoy the parks, enjoy the characters, the food, and, you know, just the entertainment all around and enjoy the hotels, right? The hotels are amazing because they have their own little cabanas and pools and stuff like that. So trying to do Disney in one day is very tough. And you've also got Disney Springs. And so man, there's so much to do out in Orlando, definitely. So, yeah.
And there's like Epcot, or there's things unrelated to Disney as well, right?
Yeah. You've got Epcot, you got Animal Kingdom, you know, and that's a lot to do. Epcot is a great experience for, let's say, older adults at that point. Kids enjoys it too with the different, you know, countries that they have. There's a thing out there where, you know, you can go to each country and grab an adult beverage if you'd like to. And, you know, you always have a contest to see if you can last all the way until the end. And, you know, it's always great to see people start at, you know, say the United States and then end out in Mexico and see their reaction from beginning to end. So it's always a good time. So
it's funny you bring that up. Me in high school, I went on a trip down. Actually, the guy that got me into real estate, I went with his family, his dad, who's the broker who I started as his assistant when I got into real estate. We went on a trip down to like Key Largo. We stayed in some house, and then we went to Orlando for a little while, and we went to Disney World. But Pleasure Island was 18 to get in and then 21 to drink. And I remember me and my friend went to Pleasure Island, and we thought it was the most fun thing ever. I think Outkast was there when we were there, and we had like just come at the tail end, and we saw them like leaving, and we're like, holy cow, this is crazy. And then some girls may have hooked us up a little bit, and it was awesome. Very fun. So Pleasure Island's still there.
Yeah. I haven't seen Pleasure Island out there recently, so I haven't been to Epcot recently. We generally go to SeaWorld. The kids are really into, the dolphins and the whales and the sea lions right now. But yeah, I'll have to check to see if Pleasure Island is still out there.
And then what's the last thing about Disney is what would be your go-to ride or the kids' favorite ride right now?
Yeah, it would probably be the water log ride, right? I don't know what they call it, Splash Mountain, I think it is. And it's always fun to go up there. It's kind of scary when you come down, but it's always great when you get wet afterwards, So
Went with a classic because that one's probably been around forever. You didn't go. Aren't there like new Harry Potter ones? And there's always some new experience, right?
They've got Harry Potter out there, which is really nice. Some other places have like Soarin', which is kind of like an interactive. You guide through different areas, and those are always fun also.
And then what about food and the arts and like festivals and all that kind of stuff? Would you be going to Sarasota or Tampa for all that kind of stuff? Or does Parrish have that kind of stuff in some little town there as well?
Yeah, definitely. So Parrish actually has a real great annual, and we have what's called the chili cook-off, right? And that's a big thing in Parrish here. And so every year you have different people competing in the chili cook-off and everything. So that's one of our big things here. But in the surrounding areas, right, being in the beautiful area of Sarasota, Manatee County, we have seafood festivals. And, there's also a new thing in Lakewood Ranch out by Waterside. And they are having a lot of food truck festivals and stuff like that. And food trucks are becoming a huge thing in the Tampa Bay, Sarasota area. And so that's been great. So one of the nice things about living in Florida is definitely the seafood festivals that we have here, if you're really into that thing. But if not, then there, you've got food trucks and you've got other different type of festivals out here. So yeah.
I like that you mentioned seafood because obviously then fishing is probably a hobby and a pastime, something to do there. Are there any, like as far as active activities go? Obviously, I'm jumping off of cliffs and mountains and I like gravity sports, so I can't do that down there. So for people like me or people that like to stay active or sporty people, other than volleyball, what can we do? Are we surfing? Are we scuba diving? What's the deal?
Yeah, so a lot of people actually are kite boarding, right? So kite boarding is really huge out here. You can go out kayaking. You've got your recreational boats for both fishing and just taking out for the weekend and everything. We do have some outdoor stuff. Some, if you're climbing mountains and through all that, you've got tree ump and stuff like that, where you're climbing up and across trees. And so we've got a lot of different events out in that nature. So you always have the beach for swimming and, once again, volleyball, right? So, yeah.
And sky sports too. A lot of beach places and places like that, the Carolinas and Florida and all those kinds of places. Skydiving, hang gliding, just piloting. Are there a lot of little airports where if you bought a Cessna, you could live near it?
Yes, there. Oh my God, yeah. So you have, you've got the Sarasota airport where you could have your own little Cessna and private planes out there. You've got some in St. Pete and Tampa. And also there's one out in Manatee County, a little bit further north of Parrish. So yeah, definitely if you're into flying and skydiving, definitely a great place to do it. I'll tell you what, one day I would like to skydive. But the way that everything is, who knows? We'll see one day. So
you're right. I've gone twice at the place where you would go at Sarasota skydiving. First time with my ex-wife when we were down in Siesta for a vacation. And that was a good experience. It was like the big plane. Everything was streamlined. I don't want to talk bad about a business. They sold it. And me and Elkin went. If anybody out there knows Elkin, what's up? Elkin, if you're watching, say what's up. Me, Elkin, and Jamisha. Jamisha also went when we were down there. We get there, and I told him, this place is great. I booked it. We're good to go. And we get there, and it's, I guess it was a Cessna. I don't know what kind of plane, a Piper or a Cessna. Yeah. Stripped down with nothing in it just to like save weight so we could take two of us, and me and Elkin scrunched up with my knees into me like this, riding in his thing with the door right here. They just slide it open. So it was, I would maybe not recommend that place for skydiving unless you're me, and I found it more thrilling because I've done the big plane thing a bunch of times already, and this is kind of cool. I like the danger. They do this all the time, right? So it's safe. So and we got parachutes on, but yeah, I'm sure there are other places all around Florida, everywhere. Tampa has a lot.
Tampa has a lot, and out by the Ocala, Orlando area, they have a lot of jumping areas also for skydiving. So, like I said, it's one of my things that I would love to do in my bucket list, but with wife and kids and stuff like that. So, so yeah.
If you ever have the choice, do hang gliding over skydiving. I enjoyed that more. It's a little bit more peaceful, and you're actually flying. It's kind of cool. If I were pick one as a hobby, it would be hang gliding, not skydiving, I think.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. That would be awesome. I haven't been hang gliding yet, but I could only imagine how amazing an experience it would be to be up that high and just enjoy the view and everything. So,
What about cycling? Do people a lot of cycling there since it's
oh,
flat? I'm sure.
yeah, actually, you know what? That is one of the big things down here in Florida also. And there's actually a lot of cycle clubs out here in Bradenton. There's actually a cycle club out here in Parrish, and literally almost every morning I see them, and they park in this public parking lot. And there's probably got to be about, oh my God, probably about 15 to 25 of them every single morning. And they are basically cycling from Parrish, Florida, down to Lakewood Ranch, which is the next city over. And then once again on the weekends, a lot of people are cycling around the Sarasota area. Interesting story. My last client that I just helped in real estate, he is really huge into cycling. And when he was telling me about, some of these prices on these bikes and how light they were and stuff, I was like, are you kidding? I was like, that is something that would excite me in the future. So yeah, definitely a lot of cycling here in Florida. So.
Yeah, it's definitely a gear hole you can fall down. But also, my rule is if I'm not outperforming the bike, until the bike is holding me back, then I don't need a new one. And those
Yeah.
things cost a lot. You buy one, like it's going to be 10 years till I replace that thing.
Oh yeah. Do you have one yourself personally, or?
Yeah, well, mountain bike is my first love, and that thing's a Frankenstein at this point. It costs some crazy amount, and it's full suspension, and it breaks all the time, and it's got one brake different from the other, and I don't have two different tires, and it's whatever, because it's either buy that or you could almost. I mean, you said they're parking them in a parking lot. I was going to say they cost almost as much as their cars almost
Yeah,
sometimes.
yeah, no, definitely. I mean, they are not cheap. When he was throwing out some of these numbers and what you can do and throw GPS and this and helmets and suits and the seat covers, and I was like, I was like, holy cow, this is I mean, you might as well buy a car. So but they're
Right.
very.
And a lot of those guys, they go overboard or they just got money they spend. Because I've got buddies with awesome bikes that are way nicer than mine, and they'll ride it once and then they polish it afterwards, and they know all about it and how to fix. I don't know anything about it. I don't know how. I just go. I ride a lot. That's what I do, and I could do the same thing on a $300 bike. Frankly, it just wouldn't be as comfortable.
Exactly.
But yeah, that's cool. So let's talk about anybody. So anybody that's moving there is going to want to know what they're going to get for the money. Here in central Pennsylvania, I would say for say 300-ish now, you could kind of get into that entry level dream home, which is 2-story, definitely 3 bedroom, maybe 4 bedroom, probably a 2-car garage in a suburban neighborhood, probably built in the 80s or 90s. Maybe redone. If it's redone, you're gonna fight over it and bid it up to 350 right now. But so for 300-ish, you can kind of get that entry level, not the dream home we're trying to get to at the end, but that entry level kind of first family home that people want. So how does that compare to down there?
Yeah, so Parrish once again is one of the fastest growing communities out here in the Sarasota Manatee County. It's both us and Lakewood Ranch. And so when it comes to homes, a lot of our homes are actually a lot newer. And by newer, I'm saying built in the early 2000 into, now. And so we are actually based by a lot of new communities, right? So they're clearing out the land and building communities around here. As far as home goes, in order to get into a decent sized home, 2-car garage, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, you're generally looking in the 350 to 400 range. You can find houses under 350 for under 1,500 square foot, but your typical person moving out to the Parrish area, you're looking about 350 to 400. And when you start jumping into pool homes out here in Parrish, Florida, which is real huge, everybody wants a pool down here in Florida for the most part. Those start anywhere between 450 all the way to like 650 onwards at that point. So there was a time here in Florida but before everything happened where you could get a brand new home under 300,000. But in this type of environment and stuff like that, we're looking at about 350 to 400 for your, you can actually get a new home for that price, which isn't bad actually. So yeah.
I was going to say that's pretty good. So what kind of lot? That's in an HOA, obviously, and a fairly small lot, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So a lot of our lots down here are 40 by 120 or 50 by 120. So the lots aren't as spaced out as you would say maybe out in Pennsylvania or the Midwest, which is a little bit of a change for us being down here in Florida. But a lot of people don't mind it because once again, with Florida being so hot, they don't mind having more space inside and less space outside. So that way they can travel, go to the beach and stuff like that. Parrish definitely does have neighborhoods where you can get an acre or more of land and everything, but those are like prime real estates out there. And anytime any of those homes come on the market, man, they are like hot commodity out here in Parrish. So if you can get land out here in Parrish right now in a non-HOA, man, you are sitting very pretty and you're sitting on a gold mine if you ever did decide to do something. So
Sounds like a great place to invest in general. Just it sounds like it's growing and popping and maybe catching on right now as people watch this. They're going to go buy something in Parrish. So you have new stuff and you have HOAs. Are these gated communities? Do you have golf courses and all the amenities and everything? That's somewhat foreign to us here in central Pennsylvania. We've got HOAs, but typically until a couple of newer neighborhoods, there were no amenities with it really. It's just maybe they mowed the grass if it was a townhouse community and somebody had to upkeep the monument sign at the entrance to the neighborhood, but not much beyond that. So what are we looking at with HOAs and amenities and whatnot?
yeah, definitely. So once again, when it comes to Parrish in Florida, you've got the best of both worlds. So, when it comes to golf courses and stuff like that, you've got communities like River Wilderness. And then in general, most of the communities out here in Parrish, one of the biggest communities being built right now is North River Ranch. So if anybody's out there watching, North River Ranch is a great master plan community. They've got probably about 5,000 homes getting ready to be built, along with a shopping center and offices and everything. And the nice thing about the amenities, once again, out in North River Ranch is you'll have access to multiple community pools. So generally, when you buy in an HOA community, you only have access to one pool or one gym or whatever. In North River Ranch, which is right off of Moccasin Wallow, is going to be the hub for Parrish. And so a lot of people who are moving in right now are having a great experience moving into North River Ranch, and they're seeing their houses appreciate when they're getting in on the earlier phases. So we've got community pools, we've got clubhouses, playgrounds, dog parks. One thing also to mention about North River Ranch is they even have a bike renting service where if you live in the community around the area, you just pick a bike, you type in a QR code or something like that, and then off you go. And so the HOA isn't for everybody, right? But it is one way to keep everything in line with everything. And for the most part, it helps keep everything in line with the values and the amenities that you do get with it. So yeah.
And then what about renting things out in these HOAs? Is that prohibited or is just per HOA could be allowed? Because it sounds like a great place to invest. And anybody listening to this, if they're like me, it sounds like it's growing and this is the place. Maybe I should buy a single family home to rent out if I'm trying to park my money somewhere. So could we rent them out if we buy in these HOAs?
Yes, definitely. Right. So, just like any HOA, it's going to be dependent on how many homes can be investment properties or how many has to be occupied. And so each HOA community is different. We have had a lot of investors buy homes in our area because of all the new schools that they're building, all the new shopping plazas that we're building, all the college. We're getting a satellite college being built out here. And so it is definitely a place where if you're looking for investment property, definitely a place to look into also. And so we've had our fair share of investors also buying in here. But at the same token, for your first time home buyer, your family looking to upsize or downsize, it is a great community to build not only equity, but to grow with the Parrish city itself. So, Sarasota and Bradenton, they're starting to run out of area to build. And so Parrish is just fresh out there, and we are very excited. I mean, we're getting a Lowe's for the first time in the city, and that's the big talk of the town right now, you know? So yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I mean that's the right when Walmart and Lowe's and all those Targets coming soon and Wegmans. Or do you have Wegmans down in
No,
Florida?
no, we don't have Wegmans. We have Publix.
Publix.
Yeah, yeah. You know, you drive literally in Parrish, you know, on 301, you got one Publix out in one area, and you literally drive a mile up, and there's another Publix out there. So Publix galore out here. But one of the best things with Parrish, as far as being one of the fastest growing communities out in North Manatee, is the fact of you get to be a part of the city scoping itself into this bigger thing as the future comes along. And once again, that's both a good and a bad thing, right? You know, but when it comes to growth in general, Parrish is a great area to be in Florida right now. So.
And then what about the luxury market? First, what would you say it maybe starts at? And then a typical luxury buyer, what are they looking for? Are there like these canal homes with water backing, or just big mansions? Or are they buying those couple acres out that are going really fast now? Or what's the luxury market like?
Yeah, so oh my God, Derek, that's a great question, because I have actually been paying huge attention to the luxury market here in Parrish. So years ago, we didn't really have what's called a luxury market, right? But in the last recent couple years, it has blown up like crazy. You know, we do have homes out on the canal out by Rib Isle and Manatee River and stuff like that. And then, you know, you do have your luxury homes with, you know, 10 plus acres of land, which is very rare and stuff like that. And crazy enough, you know, $1 million was kind of far fetched back in the days in Parrish. And, you know, now $1 million are starting to become the norm, $1 million on up. Heck, there was a $1.8 million home just recently listed in Parrish. And you're thinking, man, 1.8 million, that thing's going to take them forever to sell. Man, this house, Derek, wasn't even on the market for one day. Not even one day. I mean, this house had probably 5+ acres, basketball court, tennis court, a guest home, and all that stuff. And 1.8 million in Parrish. You told me that 10 years ago. I said, man, you'd be lucky if you get that. That thing went in one day. And so the luxury market here in Parrish is just blowing up like crazy, and we are loving it. So yeah, it's a great opportunity to be out here. So.
And is that, you think, because people relocating? Because our luxury market here in Central PA is exploding as well. And part of it is, it's just prices are going up, and some of it is just the natural flow or whatever. But a lot of it, I think, is most of my relocation buyers actually are, I mean, the other one yesterday I talked to from Montreal, they said, we're hoping we can get into something we can live with for under $1 million. When I dug deeper, I found that what you could probably 300 maybe might get them what they actually want. So it's buyers coming from there, and then those are the ones that bid the houses up too. And especially if they're paying cash, 300, I'll pay 350, whatever, compared to the million up here I would spend.
Yeah.
So same here, and we're starting to. We used to, you know, million was the highest that was ever in our multi list, and now maybe 2.8, I think, is the highest one. There's a guy in my office that sells like all the top ones around here, but yeah, now they seem to be more and more frequent, I think. And in new construction nowadays, if you want a certain product, it starts at like 850, and even that, if you want 3-car garage custom built home on a half an acre, it's $1 million probably. Okay, and any other commentary on what you can afford down there, or anything like that?
Yeah, so once again, when it comes to Parrish, Florida, as far as affordability goes, right? So one of the reasons why Parrish is such a highly desirable area is because areas like Sarasota and Lakewood Ranch are starting to get up there into the 400-500 range for about, you know, what you can get in Parrish for under 400,000. And so even out in Tampa, in St. Pete, we've been seeing people move from Tampa to St. Pete into the Parrish area because we don't have the traffic of say those bigger cities and everything like that. And the fact that, you know, we're a great family friendly area, great retirement area, but the fact that we're close enough to the highway and the roads that you can reach all these places. And the fact that once again, with a lot of these HOA communities, they are keeping everybody happy with all the amenities that they're offering, which people are looking for. If you can't pay to build a pool home, which is anywhere between 60 to 80,000, if not more nowadays, is a great consolation, along with all the schools, right? So one thing that I will say for any family out there, or any new families that may be coming pretty soon, having kids, Parrish, Florida is a wonderful school area filled with a brand new high school, the Parrish High School, the new Barbara Harvey Elementary School, and once again, the State College of Florida coming, and a new middle school coming soon. So definitely a great area to be in. We've lived here in Parrish for over 10 years now. I call it my little big town. Just like being from North Aurora, I wouldn't be anywhere else. I simply love the city and everyone that lives around here. So yeah, it's been great.
Awesome. And then there's one thing I just thought of, and you said everything's new there for the most part, and they're just building Lowe's and all the commercial stuff for the most part. Sounds like even the commercial stuff is new. Is there any like old parish or historic district, even if it's tiny and one little road? Is there a little downtown or something with 1900s built houses?
Yes, there is. So there, and it's interesting because we have a parish supermarket, or old market, and it's right across from the Parrish Railroad Museum and everything like that. And so you have a Parrish supply store, you have one little gas station with 2 pumps, and they just upgraded into accepting debit and credit cards, but the style of the gas stations are still the same. And prior to Parrish becoming what it is now, there was a lot of farmlands and cows, and so that is still around, just not as much anymore. So you also have a supply store for a lot of the farmers, right? Whether it become, tractor supplies or bird feeds or cow feeds and any of that. So we are trying to keep Parrish as much as possible of how it used to be. But with the evolution of growth, it's one of those things where it's getting harder and harder, right? But it's one of those things where it's just an evolution of progression with the building and everything. So yeah.
I'm guessing, is parish a name, or is that how you spell like parish, like a church, like parish, or satellite location, or is that what's it named for?
It's named after some settlers, I believe, back in the 30s, and so that's how they settled out everything. And so once again, it's just this little small town, and it just keeps on growing. It's going to be one of those things where you may not hear a lot about Parrish right now, but in due time, I could imagine whenever anybody says, "Hey, have you been to Tampa? Have you been to Sarasota?" Parrish is going to be one of those cities like, "Oh my God, have you been to Parrish before?" You know what I mean? So it may be 5 years, maybe 10 years, but mark my word, Parrish will be one of those areas, kind of like Orlando, Fort Lauderdale, all those areas. So
From what you said, it sounds like an awesome place to invest in real estate, and it's time to start making some YouTube videos about Parrish, Florida, and what you get for the money there. Maybe you already have. Maybe I'm missing them.
Yep.
And if you want to buy down there, you can reach out to Richard. But before that, I want to ask you a question that has nothing to do with real estate, but does have to do with you. If you could do anything else other than real estate, what would you do? Would you play volleyball, try to go down that route? We're getting old here, so I don't know if you'd be able to do that for very long. So what else would you do? Or maybe the caveat is you can have any body of any age you would want.
Yeah, so very, very great question. I love this question. A lot of people would be surprised, but if I was not doing a real estate, I would actually love to be an entertainer at, say, a theme park or a cruise ship, and one of those shows that you go to, right? Whether it's dancing or performing or being a main character in any of those entertainment shows. That is something I would love to do, but what prevents me is I can't sing, I can't dance, and I'm not very good at acting. So real estate it is, but I would love to be a entertainer, a performer, for one of those venues. I think I love watching those shows every time we go to those theme parks. So yeah.
We have the energy for it for sure. And if anybody check out, and there'll be links everywhere in the description to check out his Facebook and his stories and everything, but he's very good on video and lots of high energy. If there's anybody that might match my energy, it might be you. And I like I almost asked you to put your sunglasses on here so everybody would know who you were, but he's very good on video. So I could see you being like a hype man, or for like a sitcom, the guy that comes out and hypes up the crowd and gets them ready. And everybody will see what I'm talking about when they go check you out. So I can see that for sure. And I think performing would be fun too. I always thought being a rock star, I mean, being on stage with 100,000 people, I don't know what could be better than that. Maybe being a comedian or something. But that sounds pretty nutso to me. All right, tell everybody if they want to reach out to you and buy down there, or just visit and find out where they should eat. Other than that, what was that place called? Cinebistro. Yeah. Tell them where they can find you. Say your phone number and your email and your website out loud so anybody that's listening can hear it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, if I could be any help to you guys in the parish or the surrounding areas, you can contact me on my cell phone number at 941-909-5555. Easy to remember. My email is rsrealty21@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, coming soon on TikTok and a YouTube near you. We are going to be everywhere on social media. And so it is great. I look forward to the opportunity to helping you guys out now or in the future. And I want to say thank you to everybody who's watched this video today.
That is a good phone number. It almost looks fake. So have you had that phone number for a while and you'll never give it up?
Yeah, no, definitely. So, real quick story is before I got into real estate, I actually worked for a cell phone company for 12 years. And so right before I left, I got to choose my cell phone number. And I said, man, I'm getting into real estate. I'm going to make sure I get a great number for this. So that's how that number came about.
That is clutch. And I think we've talked about this before. I also sold cell phones right before I got into real estate. I sold Nextel and AT&T. And then after Nextel, I left right around when it switched to Sprint or whatever. But we won't go on down that tangent. We'll talk about that next episode when we come back and talk about it after it's blown up. So anything that they could have bought now for that 300 or 400, we'll come back and see. And maybe we'll bring someone on who just made $100,000 over the last couple of years because they bought in Parrish right now. And now it's worth more. But if you want to sell here and move down there, or sell anywhere on the planet and move anywhere on the planet, reach out to me. If you need to buy or sell a home, especially here in central Pennsylvania, you can call me, text me, email me, throw a rock through my window, send a carrier pigeon, whatever you need to do. I want to hear from you. Thanks everybody again for watching and listening. Thank you, Richard, for being here. Say goodbye to everybody.
All right, guys, 3, 2, 1, let's go. We'll see you guys soon. All right.